So it's really common that when people come to coaching, one of the things they're after is a different perspective, a way to see their life and challenges in a way that they haven't seen it before. And sure, one way to do that is asking for what would you do? And occasionally the coach's own personal opinion can be right, but really in coaching, we don't provide much personal opinion at all. In fact, we aim not to, because what we really want to do is help you find your own new perspectives and ideas, because you are the master of your own life. Now, common culture really encourages us to live in our heads, to live in the land of thoughts, words, and ideas. Works well in business. However, one thing that we have sort of either lost or certainly just it's not a current focus of our culture right now is this idea of the wisdom of the body. This idea that we are more than just the thoughts that we experience, and in fact that we have a whole feeling, living, breathing organism that actually can give us some really cool cues and clues about our life. Some would call that intuition. You get a gut feeling, or guess what? There's a gut area. Another classic example of how the body can give clues is, people talk about getting cold feet about ideas. The idea that actually it means the thing they were thinking of for them is a bit of a no. Well, that's pretty common. Physically, a lot of people do get cold feet when their body is trying to say, no, this isn't for me. So what can we do about it? Well, in the next recording I'm going to give you, we're going to go through an exercise called the Body Compass, which is something taught by Martha Beck as one of our life coaching tools. Body Compass is pretty simple. It uses the methodology of a body scan, where we get to get inside of our bodies and feel the sensations. It's kind of got three main steps to it. I'll briefly explain it to you so that when you come into the practice, you know exactly what to expect. So first off, you could be lying down, but I should recommend sitting up. Just keeps you a little bit more alert and awake. You'll be closing your eyes down and guided through what we call a neutral body scan. So in this example, you're not asked to think of anything specific, but we'll just be going from your feet all the way up to your head, just noticing, are there any interesting sensations like temperature or pressure? And you don't need to remember any of this. The next step will be that we go through a body scan again, but this time with you connecting to a slightly unhappy memory. Something that was either annoying, frustrating, or just not great. Won't be looking to go for something to maximum sort of trauma and the most painful thing of your life. That might be a bit too challenging for this, but just something that wasn't great. And it doesn't really matter how long ago it was, so it might be something you remember from childhood, or it might have been something just a few moments ago. The timeline doesn't matter, but you want to be able to connect with the memory, right? Make sure the memory is quite strong. We'll then do the body scan there, and we'll notice if there are any particular changes. And the next step will be that we go through the same exercise, but with a positive memory. Again, it's not going to be like the most ecstatic thing in the whole world, but it's something that's somewhat wholesome, somewhat nice, a memory you can connect to. Might well be with loved ones, might be somewhere out in nature, for example, but just like a pretty ordinary but very nice experience. And that's the perfect way for us to then scan to the body and see what differences we might notice. Now, you don't need to remember the differences yourself whilst you're doing it. Either you're doing this with a coach, and then the coach will be asking questions and noting it down. Certainly that's what I do. Or otherwise, if you're going to do it via the recording that I'm going to share with you, I've got a few suggestions of how you might do this. So, firstly, you could listen to the recording and simply try to remember your answers. It's not the one I'd recommend, but you can give it a go. Next option you could do is you could have a little notebook, so that when we go through the scan and say, what do you notice about your feet? What do you notice about your thighs? Then, when particular things that you notice come up, you could jot it down in your notebook. there is a bit of a challenge there that sometimes opening your eyes to write something down means that you're sort of coming out of your body, so to say. So it's not always that easy to do that, but it is an option. So then the third option I've got for you, which I think might be rather good, is if you listen to this perhaps on a laptop, have your phone or at least another device available and put it on record. So it can record you verbally speaking out loud the answers and observations to what I'm asking. And that way, you at the end of the session, you either might happen to remember a lot of things anyway, but also you could just go and press play and listen to the things that you were saying during this meditation together. So now that you're all set up, I'm going to record your next session for you. This one will be audio only, as we don't need the distraction of our eyes. We're purely going inside to see if this inside perspective is going to give us some clues around what are the things that we really like, and what are the things that are simply not for us. All right, take care.